Well, we're the Scott family. I'm Chelsey.
I'm Brandon.
Brandon. This is Bennett. And then this is Sister Charlotte. Yeah. We were married in 2015. We had Charlotte in 2019. And then last summer came this little guy who's given us quite a roller coaster so far in his little life. He had quite a rough first start of his winter. Back in January, he was one sick little guy. We took him into the clinic to be seen. They tested him for RSV and it was actually negative. Took him back home. I had him in that next morning because things really went downhill. But his oxygen and everything was okay, so they had us go home. 2 days later, I was back and my gut was telling me, I was like, something's not right. I knew he was struggling, and sure enough, his oxygen was pretty low. And I was by myself. Brandon was about to teach class, and he ended up rushing over to the clinic, and we were admitted. Once we were in the hospital, they ran some tests, and he tested positive for RSV. He's got like congenital laryngomalacia, which is like a floppy tissue in that covers his larynx, and it can kind of block his airway. So he retracts every day. Like he has some retractions, but it was really bad. He was struggling to breathe. It was really hard to see.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things every time we take him to the doctor, they're like, oh, he's really working to breathe.
He does that every day.
Yeah, that's normal Benny breathing.
Yeah.
That's scary for a parent, though.
Yeah.
Because you think, like, what happens in the middle of the night then?
Right.
You know?
Well, that's exactly it, because when I had him in, he was only at like 84% oxygen, and she's like, overnight could have been worse.
In my mind at that point, it was like, okay, a waiting game of a couple days. Go get him some oxygen, and then those days just kept going and going.
It felt like we were never going to get
Yeah, it was one of those things like,
And it was scary at first because like nurses were coming in and they were running tests and they were stripping him down and he was running a fever and it was a lot. It was emotional, it was a lot. CMN did provide the humidifier. We use that at home too, but it was nice to have that in the hospital.
Certainly the staff there was phenomenal for us.
Yes.
They were always there the second we needed them, and even before we knew we needed them, they were there. That was probably the highlight for us, I think, was the staff there.
Right, and form relationships with the nursing really, because the first couple days you'd have the nurse and then they'd leave, and then towards the end of our stay they'd come back and they're like, you guys are still here. But they'd pop in to see Bennett because they wanted to check in on him. Discharge day was
it was good.
It was kind of cool because the nursing staff told us they had him on room air and they were back by the desk watching the monitor and they were cheering him on. Like he kind of dipped a little bit, but they were like, come on buddy, and he got his oxygen went back up, and so he had his own little cheerleaders there at the hospital.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
I will say one of the very nice things was making sure the kids are safe. That was a really big thing. So each time you get a code and you have to sign in and sign out with the front desk.
Get up to the floor.
And that was all provided by donations from CMN. So that expansion really is something that was necessary. It really takes a load off your